Say good morning from not the homestead. Today is the 5th day of our pantry challenge, and our scene is a little different today. Tim had some family that ended up being pretty sick, and so over the weekend, he actually came up north to where his family's from in Ohio. And so we opted to come up and visit with his family for a couple of days. So this morning we're in a hotel room. Things are looking a little different for us, but efforts to help my skin during this pretty rough flare. I did bring my own bacon that we're kind of having to be creative with. It's a nice little kitchenette, but we thought it would have a stove and it doesn't, so we went out and grabbed this thing real fast. And then we're gonna have some scrambled eggs. And then since we are in a hotel, we're gonna let the kids supplement the eggs and bacon with stuff from the continental breakfast that they have downstairs. So today's gonna look a little different, tomorrow's gonna look a little different. We're trying to utilize our pantry still, but we also know that, you know, unforeseen circumstances lead to flexibility. So anyway, we're gonna eat some breakfast, get time for the pool, and then we're gonna go get to see Tim's pawpaw, who we haven't seen in a while, so we're all really excited about that. What you got, Nathan? Nathan, what you got in your hand?
Show mommy.
What is it? It's a banana? Banana? Are we eating a banana while they're waiting on eggs and bacon? So for lunch on this day, we are opting completely out of the pantry challenge, just with us being out of state with family. So we had to hit up fast food, which we opted for Chipotle, and I got a bowl. Tim got some food, and the kids all got quesadillas with their apple juice and oranges. So sometimes when life throws you punches, you go eat Chipotle.
I have no idea. I bet Michelle was scrolled up. She was saying for something.
Good. Is that good?
Thank you. Love you. Okay.
Okay, and so for dinner, we're able to pull out from our pantry challenge because I threw some taco stuff in the cooler. And instead of trying to carry an additional thing of taco seasoning, we just threw some salsa in our meat to season. So that is how. And today, we are trying to stick to the pantry challenge despite being on the road. Say good morning. Say it's day 6 of our pantry challenge. Say we are gonna be heading home today, but for breakfast, we did bring some of our own sausage that I seasoned with some maple seasoning, and then we're gonna use some eggs, and then And the best solution that I could find really fast at a store that I was at was to grab some some cold brew coffee that was concentrated. I went ahead and grabbed an organic brand. And then since I'm running low on milk because the baby needs this, I opted for an organic oat creamer, flavored vanilla. And so that's what we've been doing for coffee. I found an organic coffee shop, but it was like an hour and a half from where we are. So that wasn't practical for me to go get coffee. So we did go outside of the Pantry challenge to get coffee as well. And this is what a tray looks like when you don't feel like taking them downstairs. So that's what we're doing for breakfast, and we'll see you at lunchtime. All right, so we are loading up to head home. And so I am going to, it's not going to be our full lunch because I have a feeling they're still going to be hungry after this, but it gives them a little bit of like a snacky lunch to bridge the gap in case we need to stop. But I'm going to heat up this chili and kind of drain as much of this extra moisture off of it as I can. And then I'm going to actually take the leftover tortillas from our tacos last night and make chili tacos with some cheese. Thankfully, our children very much enjoy tacos because between having Chipotle yesterday and tacos yesterday and now chili tacos for lunch, again, thankfully they don't mind tacos. And then I have just enough chips for me to be able to eat just like a container of chili with a little bit of chips to go on top of it. So that's gonna be our snacky lunch. And then I've got some raisins. And then I figure we'll probably go ahead and grab something else on the way as well. Hopefully they can unwrap it and eat it without getting juice everywhere. But we'll eat these when we're stopped. We're not gonna eat these in the car. That would be bad news. Okay, there's a potty up by the car. Big. Hi, me.
Who's hot?
I don't know.
Like ketchup, hot sauce. Very nice. Oh! He was trying to get a good to eat some chicken. He doesn't look.
All right, so it is lunchtime on day 7 of the Pantry Challenge. I totally forgot in the chaos of this morning to record that Tim made oatmeal bars for the kids. They were a hit. That's about all that's left. For lunch today, I am going to be digging into the depths of our pantry for some avocado oil, some canned turkey, some saddening apples, and I'm gonna make a apple turkey salad, like with mayonnaise. So I'm gonna get that started right now. So I love having like condiments in the pantry just for like quick and easiness. But the awesome thing about having ingredients and the skill to know how to make things like mayonnaise and stuff is when you run out, you can make it really fast with what you have, and then you can go stock back up on whatever your favorite mayonnaise brand is or whatever when it's time to use one that has the pouring spout, because it makes such we have mayonnaise. Oh. Another reason why I love like a turkey or a chicken salad, tuna salad even, is because it's an awesome chance to use up random things where you have, especially like with our family, where we have 5 kids. I only have 3 apples, and half an apple's not going to go very far, but I can use like 1 or 2 of these in a salad, plus a stick of celery, and because I'm out of peanut butter, so I can't do like celery with peanut butter. And it just uses it up in a creative way, but it also gives them something different to eat. So if you had craisins, you could throw craisins or cranberries or raisins or whatever fruit. If you like raw onion, you could throw raw onion in that. My kids don't like raw onion, so I won't be doing that. But it's just an awesome way to create something basically with lots of little nothings or lots of little somethings. I'm aware that this is not some of my children's favorite meals, so I'm gonna throw a bunch of like little sides with it so they can kind of get like a snacky lunch with a little bit of protein. So we've got some gummies that I made that I need to use up, some bread, some olives, and some assortment of chips that I just kind of threw all in one bag and mixed all together that they can have to go with this. And I'm checking to see, I've got some pickles in the fridge in the garage, so I'm gonna go grab some of those. And it's gonna be kind of a hodgepodge lunch today. All right, so it's time to prep for supper. And for supper, I'm going to utilize that turkey broth from lunch, as well as some peach salsa. And I'm going to throw some pan-seared pork chops into the crock pot and just let those simmer in the peach salsa for a couple of hours until dinner. And then I'm gonna go with some plain rice, and then probably cook up some carrots to go with that. So dinner is gonna be pork chops, carrots, and rice. Good morning. It is the 8th day of the Pantry Challenge. And this morning we are gonna let the kids enjoy some pancakes and some breakfast sausage. So Tim is gonna get that whipped up for them to enjoy. And so it's one of their favorites, and so they'll eat that up with some maple syrup this morning. So in honor of the Pantry Challenge, and also with it still being winter and the weather being absolutely beautiful outside, but just not nice enough, because I know we're gonna get winter again probably in a couple weeks, I am going to branch out and try my hand again at kombucha. I have an absurd amount of black tea bags that I have not used since we don't drink a ton of sweet tea anymore. And so I am going to try my hand at kombucha. Now, I tried kombucha several years ago, and this was before we drank it pretty consistently, and it did not turn out good. It was very heavily fermented, and so it was not a taste that we were used to, so we didn't like it. So we're gonna try again now that we're a little more accustomed to the flavor of it, having drunk it some of the ones that the store provides. So we're gonna get started on that right now. I have filtered water filtering through. And we're gonna try our hand at kombucha. All right, so I'm gonna get that boiling, and while that is boiling, I thought I'd show you my start on lunch or dinner. I have this teeny tiny little chicken that I've been roasting, making like a quick broth, and then I'm gonna actually add the leftover rice from last night's dinner into that. And I've got a lemon, so I'm gonna make kind of like a lemon rice chicken soup. So that's gonna be for dinner. Lunch is just gonna be kind of another buffet of leftovers. I have some turkey salad left over. I'm gonna have some sausage and some snacky stuff. So we're gonna do kind of like a snacky lunch again, just to use up a lot of the odds and ends that I've got sitting around here before they go to bed. So I am looking to utilize up, I bought this organic garlic in bulk. So I'm looking to utilize some of this garlic, or not garlic, oh my word, ginger. Utilize some of this ginger with some of the frozen pineapples that I have. I've used some of it up for smoothies, but I still have quite a bit in this bag. And so I'm hoping, I have a pineapple ginger flavor kombucha that I really like. So I'm hoping I can kind of get something reminiscent of that, so I can utilize this ginger. But I'm gonna do some research on if it's best to juice it or to blend it, or what is the best way to add ginger to kombucha. I know a lot of recipes use like extracts and stuff, but I want to try to utilize as much of that ginger as possible and retain as much of the health benefits of it. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna do some research over the next couple of days while this is fermenting, because it'll take about 7 days for it to ferment up, and then I'll catch back up with you guys next week on how the kombucha is doing. All right, so pulled the meat off of the chicken, drained the broth, threw last night's leftover rice in that. I opted to shred the carrots instead of slicing them, because Nathan does better with the shredded carrots right now. He's kind of finicky with the sliced carrots. He won't always eat them. Excuse me. And then I opted to use some of my onion tops, the greens that I had, instead of the last little bit of onion that I have left. And then I threw a little bit of onion powder in there to add the onion flavor. And then the third thing I substituted from whatever recipe I was basing it off of is, instead of the lemons, I opted to use lemon juice that I have. And the reason why, selfishly, is I'm kind of wanting to use those lemons for like a lemon bar for a dessert at some point. So kind of holding out to use those lemons for a lemon bar. But I had a ton of lemon juice, not a ton, but a bottle of lemon juice in the fridge. So we opted to season it with lemon juice instead of fresh lemons. So that is our supper for tonight on day 15. I am opting to make a small batch of biscuits to go with supper, because I do have some who aren't huge soup eaters, and I don't like having kids go to bed hungry because then they wake up cranky. So something to go with the soup.
Hey guys, I believe it is day 9 of the February 2024 Pantry Challenge, and as you can see, we are absolutely emptying out the pantry. So we used up some coconut sugar, some more coconut sugar, and some chocolate chips on our zucchini chip cupcakes recipe. Also used up half a bag of our zucchini, and here's our mixer going. So here in a little bit, I'll show you what the cupcakes look like. And here's the end result. So 2 dozen zucchini cupcakes.
All right, so we have a chiropractor appointment this afternoon. So for today's lunch, we're actually gonna pull out some leftovers to save us on some time. So we got some leftover rice, leftover pork chops and sausage, some leftover soup, biscuits, and raisins and craisins. So the kids are gonna get to pick out which of these items they would like for lunch, and then we'll be heading to the chiropractor. All right, so it is dinner time, and I'm really excited about this dinner because I got to empty out a bag from my upstairs freezer. I made homemade tortillas with our own lard as the fat. We're using up some fajita meat with a spice seasoning that I put together here without spices. I got to use up the rest of the green pepper bag and the last little bit of onions. I took some of the last bit of leftover rice. I actually threw some black bean salsa in it to make it go a little bit further. And then on the sides, or on top, we've got mild salsa, peach salsa, or black and bean salsa, and some cheese. So we are definitely utilizing freezers, which was one of my big pantry goals, was to really work the freezers as like best I could. And we're also using up some of the stuff that we grew here, both meat and vegetables alike. So that is our 9th day on the pantry challenge. Kids are chomping at the bit to eat, so we're gonna dig in. Alrighty, today is the 10th day of the pantry challenge, and this morning I am digging into the upper freezer, utilizing some pumpkin puree that I did up last fall, as well as, these crack me up just how gross these look, but they work really well. Some frozen duck eggs, as well as busting into the pantry and using up some of our oats that we have purchased in bulk and in order to make pumpkin pancakes. And our girls, with the warm weather we've been having, have been laying incredibly well. So we're gonna supplement in the recipe. I only put out 3 duck eggs, and the recipe calls for some eggs and egg whites. So I'll be able to use a lot of our fresh eggs because we just have an abundance sitting around with this more spring weather that we've had the last week or so. So gonna get these rolling for breakfast this morning. And as usual, I have a very upset helper in the mornings. He's not quite to the age where you can reason with him that if mom has both hands, breakfast is gonna come a lot faster. Yeah, tell him, say, I don't care. I want mom and food both. Yeah, tell him eggs and pumpkin. Say eggs. Eggs. All right, so this recipe that I was looking at for pumpkin pancakes suggests an apple maple filling. Well, I don't have any apples, but I do have. So we're gonna heat some of this up and use apple pie filling as an option to top our actually pretty healthy pumpkin pancakes. Yay! So I'm so grumpy, I do not want daddy.
Nathan, come here.
Okay, so these are nice and thick. Pretty pleased with them. So gonna get some cooking and heating up. Already made a mess on my stove this morning. Heating up the apple pie filling. So it is Saturday, and I had all of these grand plans of bringing you along on shore time and showing you how we move the pigs today and celebrating our last week of dry weather. But this morning, the weather has now changed. The mud is coming back. So as rain is not friendly for cameras, technology, and the alike, this is me just popping in saying hi. Hope you guys are doing great. The animals are doing good. Since the cold spell, they have loved the last few days of beautiful weather. Almost noon, And we have had a doozy of a morning. We went to move the pigs and that went super duper well. And then our car started having issues. So it took us a while to get home. And so I'm having to do a little bit of adjusting. Normally Saturday is my work day. So I've got kids right now because Tim's taking the car to town to see if it's the battery or the alternator or what's going on. And so I'm kind of diverting from being outside with it raining. I wanted to go repile some more compost, but since I've got the babies, we're gonna divert my attention to here in the kitchen. And so I'm gonna keep busting on our pantry challenge. And so for breakfast this morning, we were supposed to do yogurt. Long story short, I didn't get it made, so I'm making that today. I am going to work on some same day sourdough recipes of pita bread and a poppy seed roll. And I'm really working through this book right here. It's called The Sourdough Whisperer. I got this for Christmas and I'm really enjoying it. But she, in her book, has given several, no affiliation, just something I'm learned. This is one of the resources I'm using to learn. But she gives several, or is it same day collections? So like several things that you can do morning of. I've made the sourdough pizza crust and it's very good. But I'm going to do the pita bread, for probably like a meatball pocket kind of thing. And then, I'm going to do these poppy seeds. But I think I'm going to actually experiment with it and make it like a lemon poppy seed flavor. Just to experiment with it to see if it'll cover up a little bit of the sourdough flavor, because I have one that doesn't particularly care for that flavoring. And see how that turns out. I'm going to work on some homemade ricotta cheese. I am planning on doing, but I'm going to make a manicotti, a stuffed manicotti, because I have some mozzarella cheese still to use. And I'm actually going to make it like a chunkier, a little bit more of a fresh tomato marinara added to one of my jars of marinara with that for those frozen tomatoes I have, just to make it a little bit different. But I need ricotta to add. So I'm going to try my hand again. I've made it before and I enjoyed it, so I'm going to try it again. And then my sweet tooth, let's face it, is very excited about these last two things. We're going to do apple dumplings tonight for dessert, and then probably lemon bars tomorrow for dessert to go with the manicotti. So we're going to bust out those today to finish out the rest of this weekend's portion of the pantry challenge. So full disclosure, I went to make these pita bread things the other day and totally forgot about them. Went to bed, and so this is what sourdough looks like when it's set out overnight. Or, you know, 2 nights, because you forgot about it. Good job. We'll try to do better this time and not forget about it. All right, first step for meatball pita deliciousness. I'm very excited about this recipe because I have these poppy seeds that I've had for probably way too long. So I'm excited to get to use some of these up for this recipe. Go me! All right. So with this being the first time, for me, one of the beautiful things about having a sourdough bread on a pantry challenge like this is I'm not having to store instant yeast. I have instant yeast and I've used them for like a bread that I made earlier last week, but it's nice to not have to have that in stock. And it's also a way to save a little bit of money. If you do the sourdough, you don't have to buy the yeast or the sugar. It's a natural bacteria in the air. And my starter that I use, the recipe I use, is just flour, water, and thyme. So it saves a little bit of money in my opinion. Ricotta cheese is what Mama's gonna use as part of our cheese mixture in our stuffed manicotti. Stuffed stuffed manicotti. What's we're having for dinner tomorrow. All right, so I'm gonna make a whole half a gallon of milk in my ricotta. That's gonna get me about roughly a cup, I think, of ricotta cheese. So, plus that'll still leave milk in our fridge for other things that I need to get done today. Right, and because of our schedule change today, I'm gonna throw together a really quick chicken noodle soup with some chicken broth that I canned, some pasta I've got in the pantry, and I'm gonna shred up some fresh carrots instead of using my canned carrots because I'm trying to use up the fresh stuff first. So we're gonna do carrots, and then since I'm out of onions, we'll do onion powder and garlic to season it. All right, I added my vinegar, and so now I'm just gonna let that sit there and separate for a little bit. All right, we'll let that culture for a while, and we'll have yogurt soon. Lunch is about finished. Ready to add the chicken broth and a little bit of chicken to that. All right, we'll let that come up to a little bit of a simmer. We added the chicken broth and the last little bit of store-bought parsley I had. All right, because I have a major sweet tooth, we are going to now tackle some gluten-free lemon bars for a tasty treat. All right, we're gonna throw that in. Before it gets much later, we're gonna pull stuff out for dinner. Apple dumplings. I've got these random 2 packs of chicken and thighs that I'm gonna bust out and actually make a small batch of chicken and dumplings out of. Okay, yeah. I think what it was is I pieced out one final bird and we just had an even number. So we're gonna thaw those and make a batch of chicken and dumplings. And you know what? While the kitchen is a mess, we're gonna go ahead and put together a batch of elderberry syrup. Evidently, I'll have to make sure there's no plastic in it, but why not? Another pot to wash. What's another pot? Lemon bars are out. Lemon bars are out. All right, so I got my elderberry syrup getting ready to roll. Got my chicken prepped and rolling. And now we're gonna start. And now the pastry cutter comes out to whip up our apple dumpling dough. So we're gonna actually use, instead of butter for this recipe, we're gonna use some lard. This is more of the leaf lard. So we're gonna use that in here in our pastry. Okay. Okay. Okay, cool. Then you just want to turn it off for me while I get these rolled out.
I really know how to use the stove.
Right, the batch of apple dumplings is done. And now, watch out, please. Watch out.
We get to pour some stuff on it.
We're gonna pour our buttery,
Liquid.
sugary, all the deliciously bad things for you mixture over. So I know you weren't successful this time around, but would you go hunting again with Papa?
Yeah. He's We said we might tag the nests, and then we could like look at them again next year.
Okay, yeah. And squirrel season's almost over. So his papal took him today. And he got to shoot his gun a couple times. So,
Can I get them?
yeah, bring them in there and show them to him.
I want to see them a little bit closer.
You look like your head is in that pot. Lane elderberry syrup. Alright, and because I'm cruising for punishment, I threw together a really fast coffee creamer. It's just milk, sugar, cane sugar, and a little bit of vanilla. We're gonna cook this tonight, so all we gotta do is reheat it tomorrow. Woo! Alright, so it is the 11th morning of our pantry challenge, and this morning the kids had homemade yogurt with apple pie filling, and then I am gonna make myself a scrambled egg, because I need a little bit of protein today. So, that is what's for breakfast. I should note, yogurt does have protein. I don't like yogurt. It's a textural thing. I'll eat it in smoothies, but I don't like it yogurt. The kids do. So I'm gonna get protein through an egg while they got protein in their yogurt.